My foot's asleep. Okay. Nope. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video I am excited about because this is a video that I am so very passionate about. I know this is something that's going to hit home for a lot of people. Sitting down, I really wanted to do like all of my mats, like my favorite mats of all time. But after compiling a bunch of them, I was like, I need to do separate like drugstore mats and high-end mats because it was just going to be too long of a video if I sat down and did both. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys my favorite drugstore mats of all time.
My favorite mattifying primers, mattifying foundations, matte eyeshadows, matte blushes, matte highlights,
all that jazz, because I know what it's like to have oily skin and have it be completely out of control and erratic. I know because baby girl, when I was pregnant, my skin went from like oily to oily, and that's when I first started playing around with makeup, and I had to rely on anything and everything that said matte. Once I knew I had oily skin, I was like, okay, so now it's gonna be matte everything, matte everywhere I go, matte, 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 matte. I'm gonna go ahead and just start off with primers. The best primer that I have found that is mattifying in the drugstore is the Rimmel Stay Matte Primer. It's very dingy and ugly because this actually traveled with me for the longest time when I was still working in construction and doing my makeup on the go, because I would go from waking up at like 5 a.m. working in construction, having to get ready at a Rite Aid bathroom, do my makeup, go to a class or a show or a performance, and I always needed something that was going to help control my oils because I was always on the go. So this traveled with me. I love this. I think this is like under $5 even. I know I rarely talk about this on my channel, but again, this should have been talked about. I think the reason I didn't talk about it so much is because, like I said, it lived in my makeup bag, so out of sight out of mind type of thing. But this is such an amazing primer, guys. I really like it. It has a lotion like consistency, which I really like because I'm trying to take care of my skin this year. Second primer, this is a newer one which I was not expecting to like as much as I do, but this is the L'Oreal Infallible Matte Lock Mattifying Primer. This is a primer again from the drugstore from L'Oreal. L'Oreal is honestly just killing it when it comes to their Infallible line. I still haven't found one thing that I haven't liked. There's still some things I want to test, so I'm not gonna say everything from the Infallible line is good, but everything that I have tried so far has been alright. I literally just started using it and I'm very impressed by it. It is what I am wearing today. This is the primer that I'm wearing today. This makeup has been on me for a while. I am under hot lights. This is the second video I'm filming today and it is going well. I just had some tacos right now, and you know a bitch put hella hot sauce on her tacos. I was literally just sweating, and sweat and all that stuff was happening, and yet I still feel pretty matte. I don't feel like my makeup is breaking up or anything like that, and this is the primer that I'm wearing, so I really like this primer. I'm still kind of testing it out, but for now I like it. For foundations, there's only two that I want to talk about because I'm still kind of testing one out. If it makes it in my favorites, then we'll know, but I really just want to talk about two that I love, that I trust, that I can really recommend to you guys, because I could have just sat here and ranted about a bunch of products, but this video I really want to talk about things that I really love, that I really trust. So these are just the products that made that cut. The first one I'm going to talk about is my Fit Me Matte and Poreless. I really like this foundation, and even though it is not the most mattifying foundation in the drugstore, this is the most mattifying yet skin friendly yet more everyday foundation for oily skin that will keep you matte. This is a very good foundation, don't get me wrong, but it is not the most mattifying one. But that's also a really good thing because this is more of an everyday foundation. This is a foundation you can get away with wearing every single day because it's not as clogging, it's not as comedogenic. Does it stay matte? Yes. Does it wear stunning? Absolutely. I think the reason I'm mentioning this is because it's the most stunning foundation I think the drugstore has to offer that does have a mattifying property in it. But is it the most mattifying? No, because actually this one is. And the reason I'm not actually physically holding that foundation is because I actually let somebody borrow that foundation, and I didn't want to go out and buy it just for the sake of the video, but I'm gonna pop a video. This is my L'Oreal Pro Matte Infallible. This foundation, you guys, this is top dog in the drugstore of mattifying foundations. Honest to God, if I'm speaking like from here, from the heart, yo, this is the most mattifying foundation I've ever tried, drugstore or high end. This has has beat out my Makeup Forever Matte Velvet. This has beat out my Givenchy Matissime foundation. Like, this is a very mattifying foundation. I love this foundation. I've raved about this foundation. This foundation, honest to God, keeps you so matte. But because it keeps you so matte, I do want to warn you guys that this foundation does have the potential to clog up your skin and cause breakouts because it is a very heavy, very drying foundation. So I do not recommend this foundation for everyday use. But if you, like me, have events to go to and need that tried and true foundation that you know is going to stay matte, that you know is going to wear for at least 12 hours, this is that foundation that is going to do that for you. I promise you, this foundation is... you have no idea. Thank you. Next. Setting powder. Again, I'm only going to talk about the powder that I know, that I trust, that I can really recommend to you. And I'm sorry that it is not drugstore, but you can order this off of Amazon, I believe. And it is higher price, guys. It is my Sasha Buttercup setting powder, but this is the best mattifying powder that there is that I have found, that not only leaves you with a nice airbrushed finish to setting your entire face, but this actually really does help control your oils. And I'm telling you from experience, this is the powder that I trust, that I love. And even though it is a little bit on the pricey side, you guys, you get so much in this container. It's crazy how long this lasts you. This has lasted me almost 2 years. And you guys see me bake with this a lot. Even when I'm not filming a tutorial, but I'm sitting down this camera, you can bet your bottom dollar that this was the setting powder that I used that day, because it's a gorgeous tone. It's mattifying as I love this powder. I cannot rave about it enough. I love it. And this is the only powder I'm mentioning. I have other powders that set beautifully, that leave you nice and poreless, all that jazz. But we're talking mattes today. We're not talking Kevin's or Steve's, okay? We're talking mattes. Technically, we're talking Sasha because of the name. Bronzers and contour powders. So for contour powders, I really wanted to mention my favorite drugstore contour powder, which is this one from e.l.f. It's matte. It comes in this e.l.f. Total Face palette, which you guys can find anywhere that e.l.f. is sold, as well as on the e.l.f. website. I actually really like this contour powder, you guys. It is the contour powder that I'm wearing right now. I love it. I think it is similar to Hoola, but not as similar as I would dream. Hoola's amazing, guys. Hoola's the bomb when it comes to contour powders. At least for me, there really hasn't been any other powder to match it. I really like this powder. It's completely matte. There's no shimmer, which thank God. I think I mentioned this before, but I am just so happy that the drugstore is now offering things without shimmer. I literally was just texting my friend Stephanie about this, of how we don't do shimmer as much as we would like to, because A, we have oily skin, or B, texture, or 3, acne, or what have you. But there was a time where the drugstore only did shimmery bronzers. They only did shimmery blushes, and I think it's because shimmers are, 1, pretty to look at, and 2, pretty damn easy to formulate, and formulate in a good way. I always think that it's harder to formulate a matte than it is a shimmer, but now we have the option. I think now the drugstore is really treating us to find really good matte contour powders that don't have shimmer, bronzers that don't have shimmer. I'm just so excited that we now live in a world where this is an option, like a full matte palette. Like, this is an option now, you guys, and I'm so incredibly grateful for that. You have no idea, because I was sick of the shimmers for a minute. As for bronzer, my tried and true, my baby that I'm actually hitting pan on, can you see that? It is the beginning of the end, and I am not ready for it. So this is my favorite bronzer at the drugstore. I still haven't found another bronzer that I love as much as this that is completely 1000% matte. The reason I prefer a matte contour powder and a matte bronzer is because when you mix shimmer into contour powders or bronzers, for some reason it makes you look muddy, which is not what I want my makeup to look like. I'm not bronzing and contouring to look muddy. Also, it doesn't give me the definition that I want my face to have. It's not giving me those shadows. It's giving me shine. It's emphasizing, if anything. And if my skin is going through something, which I'm human, I'm a woman, hormones are a thing, I get mad because babies. So breakouts happen. Milia's a thing, and shimmer emphasizes texture. So why would I want to emphasize all of that? I don't want any of that. Pineapples, I don't want it, and I don't gotta have it. And thank God we have the option now. There really is only one brand in the drugstore that I feel like does matte blushes right, and I mean matte blushes that can compete with high-end luxury blushes. And I know you guys are gonna guess it. You know I'm gonna say Milani. This This wouldn't be a favorites video if I didn't mention Milani at some point in the video. I love Milani. Milani is one of my favorite brands at the drugstore. I think that they really know what they're doing. There's something about their products that makes you feel like you're shopping at the luxury side of the drugstore, which I feel like Pixie and Milani both do that, but Milani does it and does it right. Everything from their packaging. These rose blushes, their rose blush line is something out of a fairy tale. Like, I just think they're so beautiful. I always go for Coral Cove from Milani. This is my favorite Milani blush, you guys. I love Luminoso, but Luminoso does have some shimmer to it. This, on the other hand, is completely matte. It's stunning, it's gorgeous, and the thing about Milani blushes that I really love is the fact that they're matte, guys, and it wears forever. They're stupid pigmented, but not stupid pigmented to the point where you get really overwhelmed at one swipe. Like, it does still give you the option to build up. Milani's got you. Milani's got you in the blush department. I want to mention this blush from Note Beauty, which I think I got in my BoxyCharm a few months ago. This is the blush just for the sake of, I wanted to show you guys what I'm wearing and I wanted to really express my feelings on it. But if you are in the market for a gorgeous matte blush that is, I mean, pigmented, but when I say it wears for a really long time, like, this bitch wears for a long time. This is such a gorgeous blush. Such a gorgeous blush. I don't know, there's just something about this blush. It is probably my favorite blush that I own, if I'm being honest. Since I got it, I could not leave it, and every time I put it on, I'm not joking, you guys, I always have that inner conversation of, like, why do I use anything else when I know I have you? You know what I'm saying? Highlight, again, I only really have, actually I have two. So for highlighters, I know it's one of those really weird things that I'm gonna say a matte highlight, but let me explain to you what I mean by that. When you look at these highlighters, they really don't look like much. This actually looks like a face powder. It actually kind of looks like the moon. If I'm really being honest with you, this looks like the moon to me. But the thing about them, the reason why I'm including them in this video is because they really are matte highlighters. When you look at them in the pan, they really look like, this one looks more like the moon than the other one. Kind of has the, like, the shadows and like the look that kind of looks like a crater. Pew! They're not beaming highlights, you guys. And honestly, when I first saw this and Essence sent this to me, I was like, there's no way. Because even swatching it, it's kind of chalky, you guys. Even a swatch doesn't really do it justice. But once this lands on the face, you will understand what I mean by a matte highlight. Because it's not glittery. It's not a beaming highlight. But this is the highlight you need to have in your arsenal. You need to have in your kit. Again, because it is matte. It's because it is matte. It doesn't have any glitter chunks in it. It's actually just a really shimmery powder, if you will. This is not going to emphasize texture. This is not going to emphasize bumps or any milia or any breakouts that you might have. Again, because you don't see them right now, because this isn't emphasizing it. I actually am going through a kind of a breakout right now because I'm just getting over those days and my skin is still not acclimating to it. But I actually do have some bumps on my skin right now. I do have some blemishes. I do have some breakouts. But like I said, this isn't emphasizing it because it is such a finely milled, formulated matte highlight. Did I even name this? So this is my Essence Pure Nude highlighter, by the way. I know it looks like a face powder. I know it looks like a rotating, orbiting rock in the sky that is just pulling our tides. But trust it. Eyeshadow, there really, again, is only one full matte eyeshadow palette that I can recommend to you that I love, that I trust, that I've used many a times, and I love it very much. So this is my e.l.f. Matte for Matte 2 palette. You guys have seen me use this palette a couple of times before in my full face e.l.f. video and in a couple of other videos. I'm pretty sure I used this palette. This is the best matte palette that I have used at the drugstore. Does it have the best matte eyeshadows in the drugstore? No, but for completely matte eyeshadow palette, this definitely does take the cake. I think Wet n Wild has some really good mattes, but this is a full matte palette and I actually really do like it. I think e.l.f. really did something different with this formula that showed us what e.l.f. is capable of. And this was not the beginning because this is the Matte for Matte 2, but this was the beginning for me of them showing us like, hey, we can do mattes, because as I've been saying, anybody can do shimmers and a lot of them could do shimmers right. but not everybody can do mattes, and not everybody can do mattes right. They actually did full mattes and they did it right, and I respect them for that. So I really like this eyeshadow palette. You guys, best setting spray slash another primer, because I do prime with this, the Wet n Wild Finny Matte Flippin setting spray. This is bomb. It smells like alcohol. It smells like a shot of vodka or whiskey or tequila. Probably. I feel like I should say that. Throw that one in there because I'm Mexican. I really like this setting spray. I love it to prime. I love it to set. I wish, honest to God though, I wish my spray, like, ooh, now it's working. My spray was not working earlier, like for the life of me. It was not spraying properly, but now it wants to show up because it knows it's on camera. I think it's the best setting spray I've tried yet from the drugstore. All right, guys, these are my favorite matte makeup products at the drugstore, but I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a blast making it because you guys know I just love recommending bomb products to you guys at bomb prices. And matte makeup, you guys, is something I know because oily skin is something I know. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it taught you a thing or two. I hope it helped you. I love you guys so flippin' much. Thank you as always for hanging out with me. Have the best day ever, and I'll see you in my next video.